Google is the most powerful free business development tool in the world, and you've been using just 1% of its potential. While everyone else types basic searches, top performers are using hidden commands to uncover gold mines of leads that their competitors never see. From finding businesses and contacts that Apollo can't, to influencers and guest post opportunities for free, and even making yourself podcast famous in your niche, I'm going to show you how to turn Google into your 24/7 lead generation machine, especially if you use clay.com. The best part? Your competition is still doing this the hard way. Miyamoto's back. And the reason Miyamoto Musashi's back is because this quote applies a lot to what I'm about to teach you today. To know 10,000 things, know one thing well. To know one thing, know 10,000 things. The reason this is super relevant is because Boolean searches are something that applies to not only Google, but a ton of other databases. And it's going to allow you to use them 10 to 100 times more effectively than everyone else for finding really, really niche pieces of information. And as we know, lead generation comes down to a process of cutting the fat and then adding as much of that exact criteria in terms of leads to the pool, to the pot, to make sure we can cook. But this applies to things outside of lead generation. It really can help you lead a powerful go-to-market strategy from hiring to finding influencers to engage with you, to new partners, and a variety of other things, which I'm going to show you today. And it all hinges around the general rules of Boolean searches. Now, I would recommend just using ChatGPT or Claude or your preferred LLM, DeepSeek as well, to create your Boolean searches for you. Tell it what you want and what you don't want, and take the time to do research to find out the site parameters that you do not care about if you're going after a single website, like you would be for finding something like Instagram influencers, or, for instance, trying to search through LinkedIn to find specific individuals that match your product offering or specific businesses that fall directly into your market segment. So the general rules are that ORs expand your search, ands narrow your search, in URLs mean that it must contain something, and minus in URL means it must not contain something. So you basically have or, and not. You're trying to make sure that by narrowing these parameters that you get the exact output from Google that you want, rather than the output that Google thinks you want based on what everyone else wants, which when it comes to lead generation, we both know that we want very, very specific things. And the reason it's awesome is because you can find data that a lot of other people can't find. But more importantly, for all you Clay users, it's going to make you much better at controlling Claygen. So I talk about this a lot with people that I consult and the business owners that I help. And a lot of the companies that I help just prompt Claygen better, as well as just build better lead lists. And the reason it helps you control Claygen is because Claygen is just plugged into Google search. So you're basically enabling Claygen to make sure that it only goes after the resources that you care about for finding this information. For instance, if you know you're going after something like funding data, instead of spraying and praying for the right news resource and potentially finding the wrong company, you can actually create, the exact coin market cap link using the business name in certain cases by utilizing certain UTM parameters. That's another piece to Boolean that's going to be hugely, hugely vital for this in URL, out URL. But you can get even deeper than that by actually appending coin market cap searches or Zoom info searches with the name of your business shoved into the search criteria so you get the exact result you want every single time. You can do this for sites like Indeed to make sure, without having to plug into an API, that you can search for specific roles being hired for by a business that isn't a hiring manager, for instance. Or you can just say, hey, I really want this role to contain this business name and this business website. If it doesn't, you don't care about it, but at least you're going to get a search result that tells you if they're hiring on Indeed. You can do this for, searching websites for their case study. I only want to search on /case study /blogs and the homepage. You do and site, and site, and site. And one of the most important use cases is going to be for your prospecting. I preach a lot that Claygen is a way that you can expand your market by 10 to 20% on its own, and in certain cases, much, much more. The reason is because Apollo fails to get all of this data and fails to keep up to date with a lot of this data. And also, a lot of people aren't putting down that they work at a specific business on their LinkedIn in the experience section. Instead, it might just say it in their bio. So by having site linkedin.com/company, you can get increased coverage for company LinkedIns that may be missing from your data. Maybe you only have websites, or you can actually search for certain companies on LinkedIn if you only have their company name, plus a few other keywords that are important to you to make sure they actually are a fit, and find that company LinkedIn, even if you don't have the website when you're only working from the company name. The second thing you can do is use site linkedin.com/in, and you can use some minus URL pieces within Claygen as well, but this usually does the trick. And this can make sure that you're only going after people. There's nothing worse than looking for a LinkedIn and you end up with a company LinkedIn for a person or a person LinkedIn for a company. It just makes your data messy and chaotic, and this can help you avoid that to make sure your searches are correct every time. The second thing I would recommend doing is forcing Claygen to make sure that certain things exist in your searches. So, say you have a um, say you have a business you're searching for. This is another popular one on bbb.org. Well, a lot of businesses are going to have the same name. So, what can you do to make sure that you're only getting the business that you want? Well, you could do something like must contain, right? Must contain, I don't know, company name and address. And you would put both of these in quotes. And again, for ease of use, I would just throw these ideas into your preferred LLM to make them build it for you. But company name and address, and all of a sudden you're in a position where you can find the exact company you want. Now, let's say you're doing a hiring function and we're outside of Google and you want to find people to hire off LinkedIn or recruit off LinkedIn. Well, maybe you would do a LinkedIn search inside Clay and you would only want people with past experience at companies that grew extremely violently over the last 5 or 6 years. Think companies with incredible sales systems. And so you only want to go after people that worked in sales or worked in business development at those companies that rapidly grew. And you're going to try to hire the ones that left because you know they're going to be A players. They worked for a great company with great systems. They're going to sync into your systems much better and help you push your business forward. So there's a couple ideas. I'm going to go through a few other examples that I think are super, super relevant for anyone that's beginning to make a name for themselves within their niche and wants to use Clay to create more go-to-market opportunities outside of just sending emails. So two ways you can do that are finding podcasts to attend, finding guest post opportunities, and finding influencers to potentially be a part of your ads, like UGC ads for your product if you're running a SaaS, or a variety of other things. So let's go over here. This is a simple workflow I put together that's just finding guest posting opportunities for guest posts within my niche. And you can see back on our Gamma that I have a search query, which you can steal, write for us, submit guest post, or become a contributor, and sales or prospecting or lead generation. Now, you could run a few different Boolean searches for various keywords, depending on the type of guest posts and things that you would want to talk about. For instance, business development. Or you could get more niche and say lead generation in a specific keyword, insurance, for instance. Or maybe you only want to do B2B lead generation, right? All of these things are going to help you narrow your search and find guest posts that are relevant to you and rapidly increases your site's SEO. Because when you first start off a website, Lord knows that you don't have much domain authority. These guest posts can help you link back to your website, do link building, and actually become relevant within Google's eyes and make people actually read the content on your website a little bit more. So I set up a simple Boolean search, and you can see here it found hundreds of possible guest posting opportunities. Now, I was playing around with just extracting my YouTube video links and turning them into blog posts automatically by taking their transcript and turning them into pretty darn good articles using AI. Now, I would recommend doing this with a tool like N8N instead and just plugging your LLM in there, and then connecting it to your knowledge base or connecting it to a variety of transcripts. But this can be a pretty quick and dirty way within Clay to turn your videos into dozens and dozens of unique guest post opportunities and actually just create documents that you can send to them right away, right? Like this doc is actually getting a URL. So you could be aggressive and just send, a plain text email and then follow up to that plain text email that already delivered with a URL, being confident that it's in the inbox so that they can kind of run with it. And you have an automated system that sends out the correct guest posts to people. Furthermore, what I did is I actually pulled in all of the relevant information for this guest post using Clagent. So I can see the exact info that needs to be sent. I can see the criteria of the guest post, and I can feed that to AI to say, hey, this guest post really needs to contain this information, or it's just going to get denied. And that way, all of your blogs can meet the expected criteria and output structure for that website. And you just fire off a Google Doc that's getting created in your Google Drive. So that's one use case. I hope that's kind of exciting. But there's a lot of other ones. For instance, you can find music influencers, people that have music in their bio, people that have emails in their bio, importantly. And you can think of this across social medias. You can do it on TikTok. You can do it on Twitter. You can do it on Facebook if anyone uses that. Actually, Facebook, it's really important for finding company emails off of Facebook pages. Site facebook.com/ I think it's C or page or something. And that'll make sure that you're only looking at company pages. You can look up the company name and address just like bbb.org and find emails to expand your market. Now, you can see here we have hundreds of validated emails and we only did one search. And for those of you that don't know, you can do searches at any time doing perform search right here, but you can actually do it for free if you do add table and you start a table from scratch. You do find with a Google search, and you can input the language as well as the country if you care. And you just input your specific Google search Boolean query to find only the things that you care about finding. So again, there's a million use cases for this, but here's just an example. You can make sure that you only go after people with emails in their bio. You could say, I only want people with Spotify links in their bio or Apple Music links in their bio. You can, again, look for podcasts to apply to. So here's a great search for anyone who wants to find a podcast to apply to. This way you can go through and submit yourself for podcasts that are within your niche and have guest applications available, or you could go after ones that have emails available to submit applications to as a whole nother search criteria. And you can quickly just fire off your perfect email for why you're the best person for this, or just have a VA take action on this list and quickly fill it out and get you on a bunch of podcasts and do a bunch of go-to-market marketing prior to a big product launch or prior to a huge push to grow and meet your sales targets. So yeah, those are a few use cases. What it all comes down to is understanding your market and where you can take advantage of Boolean searches to, one, use Clagent better, two, find unique opportunities for your go-to-market efforts. I think guest posting and podcasts are two huge ones, as well as finding influencers. And then when it comes to other great use cases, you can find niche databases, you can find competitor tools, you can find partnership and cross-sell opportunities. For instance, you could look for across a list of websites that are perfect cross-selling partners for you and see if they already have pre-established a partner or affiliate programs, and you can add them as upsells at the end of your proposals or potentially free add-ons at the end of your proposals as more ammunition to get people to sign on with you instead of your competitors. You can run searches to see if people have opened new HQs recently. This is a powerful one for recruiting people, for office supplies, for people trying to give office furniture or sell office furniture. You can pull recent reports in your industry and flip them into content. And you can find upcoming events for your team to attend. You can even find the people attending those events by looking for PDFs on the website or looking for the sponsor or exhibitors pages and then scraping those pages and writing them to a new table to send emails to. And you can do these on recurring cadences using Make or N8N or just a simple API FI actor that you schedule to run once a week or once a month to really create lead generation systems that run on autopilot. You could do this all the time for guest posts. You could do this all the time for new influencers. You could do this all the time for new podcast opportunities and continually add and append your current searches add more searches deeper into Google to build out your go-to-market workflow and crush your marketing goals. If you have any questions, leave them down below. If you have any other use cases that you think are interesting for Boolean search, definitely add them in. But this has been one of the most powerful ways I can find unique databases, unique data, and just find data that other people can't, such as review data or